And this frustration you mentioned, is it the same then that sparked the idea for Better Than This?
Absolutely. I think that that song is also very much about it's like we, as humans, it's almost like we have an error. It's like we're not made to learn from our mistakes or something. I'm not sure what it is. Even in our lives, people do the same mistakes. Oh, me too. The same mistakes over and over. But when it comes to history, and what you see in Europe with nationalism and how people treat each other and they separate people from each other and blame each other and all that stuff. It's not so long ago that we had the Second World War, and the 10 years before that war was exactly the same as now. There's some things that happen now that happened then, and the patterns are so clear that if you start doing that, if you start separating people from each other, believing that you're better than any other and being nationalist, and it leads to bad things, and we should know that by now. And it's like, we just don't, it's so weird that we don't learn from history. It's really frustrating. And when it comes to climate, there are, the 99% of all science says we have to act, and nobody's doing anything for real. And it's so frustrating because we're going to start working when it's too late, probably. That's when we're going to do the biggest changes. So.
This might be an impossible question to answer then, but why do you think that is? Why do you think?
I'm not sure.
Because there's, like
it's
you said,
weird.
Overwhelming evidence.
Yeah.
But then
I think it's almost like if we all was going to have cancer, you know, and we don't want to take it in. We just don't want to listen. It's like dealing with death. It's impossible. We can't imagine it, and we can't. And this is such a slow process. It's fast in terms of how long the Earth has been existing, but for us it's very slow. Especially here in the north, we don't notice much. We only get a little bit warmer summers, and some storms in the winters. But there are parts of the world where people are really suffering already, and as usual, it's the people who don't have much, and so they don't have power to speak up. So I think it's. I don't know. That song is about my frustration about us not getting our asses off our chairs and kind of acting. And it's also, we are better than this. I feel I am very much included in this. So it's not. I'm not blaming anyone else.
Right.
It's us.
But so these, even when you write songs about social issues that concern everybody, you always take it from a personal perspective. Then?
I think what I found out is for many years I tried to write songs about politics and society, but I couldn't really figure it out. But I realized that if I want to do it, I need to use my emotions to be able to write something that is poetic and have metaphors that work, because if not, it's going to be an intellectual lyric that's almost like a speech, and that's not what I want. I want to move people. I want to open up people so that they can think new thoughts, and so I've kind of realized that if I'm writing a song about these kind of things, I have to feel a passion about it so that emotions awaken me, and emotions create metaphors. So that's how I make poetry. It's emotions make me feel something, and I feel like expressing that this feeling is just like rain on a sunny day, you know. So I figure out that the way for me to write political poetry is I have to be very engaged, and I have to feel something, and I have to dare to feel it and go in and filter it through me. So.
In a similar sense then, when you talk about relationships or emotions like loneliness and those kind of things, do they originate from yourself as well?
Sorry, what? I didn't understand. What to say?
Well, in the same way then, if you write about in a sense, more personal emotions. Do they always start with yourself as well?
Well, if I'm talking about someone else, I filter it through me to be able to express something. But most of those songs are about me somehow.
What for you was the hardest song to write?
Let's see. I don't know if anyone was hard to write. It was more the recordings
Okay.
that were hard. So.
Is there one then that sticks out for you in terms of the recording process?
Hanging and Miss You More. We worked with them very much because we wanted to, because they're quite big songs, like not big, but they have like a bigger sound, and that was the challenge of keeping the vulnerability of the lyrics and the intimacy, and at the same time making them powerful and poppy, and you know.
So if we take one of those, Miss You More, how did you accomplish this?
We tried so many different things. That song had like a version that was very much like a Prince song,
Okay.
you know, but it just ruined the atmosphere of the lyrics. It was very poppy and nice, and then we kind of stripped it down and started over and brought in a bass player and my pianist, and we just kind of played around. And we picked down the fretless bass, and he started playing like a Jaco Pastorius kind of bass, and then the piano, and then all of a sudden it's just there it is. It had the riff, and it had the sorrow, and the melancholy, and the pop riff. So that was what we were looking for, and then it kind of all fell into place. That's how it works when these things. It's just when it's there, it's really clear and it's fast. So.
In that sense, then, do songs change a lot from your initial idea to what ends up on the record?
Some didn't change at all, and some did. So Directions, for instance, was a song that I wrote for. I wrote it on top of drums and the bass line, and now it's a song with drums, a bass line on a bass and a timpani, but also a piano. So it's almost the same, but it's made with real drums and not MIDI drums.
Right.
And then Shape of a Heart is kind of the same. I made a track, a demo with lots of drums, the bass line that's on it, and lots of percussion and stuff. And now we recorded it with real drums, a bass player playing the exact same thing I was playing on MIDI, and then a lot of percussion. So it was kind of just making it alive. And then other songs became totally different than we thought.
Finally then, when did the album title pop up?
It was after quite a lot of work.
Okay.
I thought it was hard this time. I just looked through all the lyrics and tried to find different things. And all of a sudden I realized free was a word that was used quite a lot. And I always thought that Still Waters would be like the song to find the title from. So it just popped out in the end, and it was clear that that was the right one.
Why was it harder this time?
I'm not sure. You just have to feel it in your stomach that it's right. And the last album was easy. I don't know why, but sometimes it just comes to you quickly.
So when you went through the lyrics and the title is from Still Waters, so what made you stop at that point?
We're just looking for a nice phrase, I guess, something that can represent the album and represent me where I am today. And I think that's what kind of message I want to say about the album. I think that's what it was.
And well, you say free. You use that word a lot. In what definition of the word free do you mean?
Well, I feel that the title is quite ambiguous. It can kind of be different things, and I feel that freedom is also very ambiguous because it can be different things for different people. And I also feel that you can be free no matter where you are inside of you. So it's a state of mind more than anything else. And of course, it's also freedom of speech and freedom of, all the human rights and stuff as well. But it's also a sense of freedom within yourself. And I feel that it can be, for instance, a sense of freedom that you've let go of old patterns and ghosts, which I have felt in the last couple of years. It can be freedom you got out of a bad relationship. It can be freedom that you were able to choose the profession you want, or the person you want to live with, the word love, and there's so many different aspects of it. But the foundation is that I think that humans need to feel free in what way possible for them. But it's I think that's why people fight for freedom until they die. You know, it's basic human need, I think, somehow.
Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.